If you've been wondering about the simple past tense in German, which is something you use when you're writing or being kind of literary, then this is the video for you. My name is Carly Sitzman. I am a linguist who helps people learn German and communicate in the language, and I'm excited to tell you about this today, I think. Okay, so simple past tense. People do not use this in conversation when they're speaking German. So if you try and use this when you're at a cafe, like talking to someone, they're probably going to correct you and tell you to use present perfect, which is something I made a video about already. So check that out. I'll put the link somewhere. But you may see it in writing. So I'm going to give you the lowdown, okay? Verbs. You know, in German, verbs are always conjugated. I have a video about that too. Look for the link up here. They're always conjugated when you use them. And this doesn't stick out as much in English because you can either have no ending or an S, you know, so I walk, she walks. That is the closest you get to conjugation in English. But in German, there are a lot of different endings. There's a new ending or a different ending for just about each pronoun. It's good to memorize those. Check out my video on verb conjugation in German. And this simple past is similar to verb conjugation, but you're not conjugating it for the present. You're conjugating for the past. So there's different endings that go along with that. So I'm just going to go down the list, and we'll use the example of machen in German, which means to do or to make. And that's actually a really useful verb, so I recommend you memorize that. So for ich, which means I, you would say ich machte. So you are adding the te ending. And actually, before you even get started, you should be finding the stem or the root of this verb. When you look it up in the dictionary, there's a 99% chance that the verb is going to end in an en. So first thing you do is you remove that en, and that gives you the stem or the root. Now we're going to add our conjugation to the end of the stem or the root. So with machen, the root is mach. So we're going to add a te to the end for ich. Ich machte, which means I did. Basically. For du, which means it's the informal you, du machtest. Du machtest. Then we have er, sie, es. They always have the same ending. And that, in this case, is going to be machte. We add the te. Machte. Then we have sie, formal you. That's the formal you that you use with strangers and your boss when you're being really polite. So, sie machten. Sie machten. Then we have wir, which is we. Wir machten. Wir machten. Then we have sie. And this one is lowercase because it means they. Sie machten. Sie machten. Then we have ihr, which is an informal way of talking to a group. Kind of like, hey, you guys, or y'all. Ihr machtet. Ihr machtet. So basically every single one of these endings starts with a T, and then you add some ending to that is similar to what you would have in the present tense. Okay, now this works for most of them, but when you have verbs with a T or a D on the end of the root, you are going to add an E before the standard ending. So let's see, what would we have there? So reden means to talk. Red is the root, so that ends in a D. So for ich would be ich redete, du redetest, sie redeten, er, sie, es redete, wir redeten, sie redeten, ihr redetet. Whew. Also keep in mind, a lot of the most common verbs are irregular, like sehen. It means to see. You cannot use these endings with sehen. The root changes. Sometimes it uses the ending, sometimes it does. It's a mess. So, like if you wanted to say I saw, it would be ich sah. Ich sah. Breaks all the rules. So, just memorize those irregular ones if you're really into the simple past tense. Me personally, this would be really low on my priority list. If you still need to get past perfect down and present and future, I would do those first because this one you really don't use a lot unless you're reading German and reading like really articles and books and things. So just work on the other things first, but simple past is important as well. Okay, well, thank you for joining me. I hope that clarifies the simple past for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy learning. Tschüss.